At these brothers, man, I wanna piggyback off of my last video. My last video, I said we should stay single and we should stay locked in, unless or until we meet quote unquote her. And in a nutshell, all I was saying, brothers, is we have to stay on the path. We have to stay focused and not let women that aren't meant to be at our end goal with us to distract us. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I want to continue this conversation, man, because I'm fully aware, man, that there's still some unanswered pieces of conversation within that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Mainly because of one reason is because of a message I received not but moments before I came over here to record this video. A sister of mine, shout out to Makiba from Dominica, not to be confused with Dominican Republic, right? But she sent me a screenshot of a comment that I commented on my last video. And the brother was saying something like, hey, yeah, man, I think I just want to stay single in this phase of life, something, something. And my comment was, yeah, because relationships are overrated. And Makiba sent me a screenshot like what? Overrated? And I really mean that. Relationships are overrated in a zone of life, in a certain period of life. And I kind of want to make sure that's going to be one of the questions or one of the issues that I answer. What I want to talk about today, man. So I want to talk about today, brothers. I want to talk about a pitfall that we all fall into, man. I want to talk about the illusion of love. The illusion of love, man. And when I say the illusion of love, brothers, like one thing that I'm sure of, if I asked 100 men about love, I'm sure that all 100 men would say that women love different than men love. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about as an adult. I feel like men love different than women love, right? I would say that a man's love is more unconditional than a woman's love. And I know a lot of women say, oh, well, women are the only one. You know what I'm saying? But for example, if a man is out and about, if a man is at a restaurant and he sees a waiter and she's working and she has a cute smile, she has a nice personality with everybody she's working with. She greets the people walking in with a certain demeanor. A man pretty much has enough intel to make a decision that says, you know what? I can see myself with this woman. Of course, I want to know many more things about her, but she's shown me enough to be in my box for me to entertain it. Whereas a woman in a similar situation, first off, if a man is waiting tables, he's probably not going to be in her radar. But in a similar situation where a woman even sees a man, she may be physically attracted. She may say, oh, he's sexy and can think of him a certain way. But he has to check a few more boxes before she says, okay, you know what? I can see myself with this man. Because in my opinion, women love more from a utilitarian, if that's a real word, a utilitarian type energy. Meaning, okay, I love you, I'm attracted, but you have to be able to do this and do that and make me feel this way and put me in this situation. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. We can probably throw all that into a woman's survival and all that stuff. But you got to understand, it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like it is now, where a man has to can love a woman unconditionally, but he has to check so many extra boxes for a woman. You know what I'm saying? And when I say it wasn't always like that, I'm not talking about in the grand scheme of history. I'm talking about in the grand scheme of our lives. Like when we were in high school and every other relationship we had before that. Like I can remember my first relationships being, man, as early as 5th grade, having a girlfriend, right? All of our relationships back then were based strictly on a person's identity. Were based strictly on, even though we called it puppy love, in my opinion, was based strictly on love. You know, it wasn't about a woman checking so many boxes and all that stuff. It was all about a woman she was pretty and she was nice. Even with the woman back then, it wasn't like, oh, do I think this man can pay my bills? Do I think this man can have my nails did in my hair? It wasn't none of that. A young lady was saying, you know what? He's nice. He's handsome. I like him. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. Let's hold hands on the playground. That's all it took. And in my opinion, man, this is what I'm talking about today, man. It's Soul's theory. In my opinion, that was love. That was love, man. That was the truest form of love. And let me break it down, because I know you said, nah, so we were kids. This is what I mean. You gotta understand, like when people are young, like you have to understand we're in our rawest state, kind of like spirituality. Kind of like when I believe when we were all born 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, I believe we were close to God because we didn't know anything else. But I think once we started, mom and daddy, uncle and them, preaching them, start giving us religion and giving us all these hoops and blood to drink and all this kind of stuff, we turn into something else. And even though we think we're deeper in our spirituality, we're further away from it. So I believe even when it comes to relationships, it's the same thing. I believe the truest form of love, which love is nothing but God energy. I believe the truest form of love is when we were younger and we didn't know anything else. And I believe we've all just fast forwarded to this place where we all think we know a certain thing. We all think we know what a relationship is supposed to be, man. But unless we find our way back to source, which is really finding our way back to self, then anytime we entertain a relationship, it's really going to be overrated because it's really going to be something else different than what we think it is, man. Like I really think we're all in this abyss, or we're all in this pit that we don't really know we're in when it comes to relationships. And I'm talking about everybody watching this video that have gone through a number of relationships as an adult, everybody that's gone through a divorce. I'm talking about all of us. All of us. I think we all think we've healed. I think we all think we figured it out, and we think that it's everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But if you're part of the statistic, you're one, you got a divorce, you're going through certain relationships, we're all part of it. We're all in this abyss together, man. And what I mean by that is this. This is what I mean. I believe there's a small percentage of people to get on the World Wide Web, to get on the internet, to get on the tube, the book, and see people talking about, women are doing this, men are doing this, 50-50 relationships, hypergamy. I think there are people that hear that kind of stuff and they're scratching their heads like what are these people talking about? Like I believe they found that self-love they needed to, man, and they connected that with, like that last video I said, man, don't connect with somebody until you found self, you're plugged to mission, and that person has that glow. I believe there are people that have connected there that are listening to people talking, men and women, talk about relationships, and they're just like, what are they talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, for example, all of us, everybody watching this video, I'm sure that everybody watching this video, because you probably got a cell phone, you got a roof over your head. Everybody in this watching this video right now is pretty much safe to say middle class. Whether you're at the bottom and you're at the bottom of middle class, or whether you're at the top. So that's a wide range of people. Everybody in here, pretty much with the exception of a few people, or within this class. So if we put ourselves in a room of a bunch of people that or not only have found themselves in a homeless situation and are saying, hey man, like the world is jacked up. Like can't nobody afford to have no house. Can't nobody afford to eat 3 meals a day. Can't nobody afford to go to the store and buy about, we're gonna look at them like what are they talking about? Like it's second nature for us to live life a certain way. It's second nature for us to get a job and take care of our family. Like we can't think of anything outside of that. So that's what I mean when I think there's a group of people that have figured it out, that are looking at the masses, that are saying, hey, they just need to find self. They need to find self, because if we're honest with ourselves, brothers and sisters, we got to say, you know what? If things, like I just said a second ago, if things are going south as far as relationships are concerned, it has to be us. It has to be us, because you got to understand, if we all believe in the same creator that made the heaven and earth, you know what I'm saying? If the oxygen levels on this planet are so perfect that if they were just a little bit off, the whole world would collapse, that means everything else is in symmetry. If you can look at the birds and the bees and the squirrel and see how all these animals and insects can go through 4 seasons and still survive, like God put things in place to be perfect. This world is perfect. So we can look at relationships and say, man, the divorce rate is 50% and climbing. If we can look and say, man, women are doing XYZ, men are doing XYZ, everybody is just having relationships. We have to come to the conclusion, man, that it's us. We have to come to the conclusion, man, that it's something that we're doing wrong. And when I believe that thing we're doing wrong, man, I think that again we're in this abyss and we're under the trance of the illusion of love. I believe everything we think we're doing, man, and all the relationships and cuddling and all the trips and let's get married. I think we're under the illusion of love, man. And it kind of goes back to a singular truth when I talk about two whole people being together. You know, when you're whole, you've completely found self. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's a rare thing, man. I believe it's a rare thing. Even when we think that we're healed, even when we think that we're ready for that, if we're still not attracting that, then we're not that. We're only going to attract reflections of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're only going to attract reflections of what we are. So if we're not attracting that, if we're still attracting partners that are still moving sideways, that are still doing X, Y, that means that has to be something in us that's still present, right? So I want to speak on this pit that I'm talking about. This whole bubble that I would say the majority of us are in, man, that live in this illusion of love. I believe this pit is all about being tested. And that's why I said in yesterday's video, I said, brothers, stay single and stay locked in until you meet her. And what I mean by that is, in the grand scheme of things, going back to that childhood way of love being pure love, once you get old enough to lock in, stay locked in and stay single until you get past this pit. Until you get past it and you found self. Now you're ready for a relationship. Because if you don't, any relationship you entertain without being on the other side of it is going to be a test. It's simply going to be a test to see where you are or challenge where you are. You know what I'm saying? And when I say a test, what I really mean by that is I believe that, and I know this may sound misogynistic. If it sounds misogynistic, just hear me out, right? I believe that in this pit that we're living in, man, I believe that men are the testees and women are the testers, right? And what I mean by that is, say, for example, how the Bible says a woman comes into a man's life to be a helpmate, right? I believe a lot of us as men say, okay, you know what? A woman is supposed to come in our life and be a helpmate. She's supposed to make my life easier. She's supposed to help me raise kids and help me and cook the food. You know, the whole shebang of what women are supposed to bring to the table. And I think a woman being a helpmate when both people are whole is a certain thing. But I think that if two people come together, a woman being a helpmate is not that. Because if two people come together in the midst of this pit in the illusion of love, then to be honest, neither one of them are ready for it. So again, she's in a zone of testing a man and a man fulfilling the test. Like that's what it's all like. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it slow, man. If you haven't really found self and made it to the other side where there are nothing but whole people over there, I believe that every relationship you come into contact with, both man and woman, is simply a match to where you are. Meaning you're still living off of traumas. You're still living off of emotional scars and emotional, energies that are keeping you from being whole. So when you match energies with somebody, a lot of us call it trauma bonding. You can only match with somebody who's going to test that thing within you. Who's going to test that thing within you. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe a woman, like when a woman, for example, when a woman is attracted to a certain man, vice versa, either way, we're say, for example, let me just pull an example out the air. And I always use the same example. I'll just use this example. Let's say if one of your traumas is being abusive. Let's say if you grew up and you saw mom and dad and them boxing every night. You know what I'm saying? And you wake up and that's something you have to deal with, right? Let's say okay, you know what? I'm a grown man. I'm healed now. The woman you bring in your life is going to be pushing your buttons to test that thing inside of you. If that thing is, oh, I got mama issues. If that thing is, oh, I'm an empath and I don't know how to handle my energy. Whatever out of the million of things that we can have, that woman is going to be pushing those buttons within you. And think about everything we talk about. Think about the reasons we talk about when women start moving sour. So if a woman is testing you and you aren't standing on that square, boom. Instantly a woman is unattracted and she's gone. So it's all a series of tests. We think we're healed, we go to the next person. We think we're healed and go to the next person. When a man is fully solid, is fully on his square, is fully immovable, he's not even attracting women that, or I'll say like this, even if he gets to the tail end of that, the women he's attracting, he sees the test a mile out and he's like, oh, she's still in a vibration of moving like this. And vice versa. When a woman is whole, she's saying, you know what? I'm no longer in the mood to where I got to be putting all these tests on a man to test his emotional state and test this XYZ because I'm whole. Like I'm only drawn to men that are whole now. You get what I'm saying? So if we're in this pit, man. Every relationship and without, every relationship that a person gets in without being fully connected to self and locked into self is simply a test, man. It's simply a test. And if I'll be honest, man, if I'm honest with y'all, when I take this theory and apply it to my life, brother, I can see, hindsight is 2020, but I can see every single one of my relationships going backwards. I can see why they fail. I can see, but I have to be honest with myself because I'm gonna tell you this, man. Every woman that I've been with, that I've been in a relationship where it's like, okay, I'm publicly in this relationship. Like people in my family know I'm with this woman. Like it's known that this is who I'm with, man. Every single one of these women have loved me like to the moon and back, bro. Like I can't even see myself in a serious relationship without a woman that doesn't love me. And I might get online and you might hear me talk about relationships in my recent past. You might hear me talk about relationships from 10 years ago. And I might say a few things about a woman, man, like, oh man, I had a woman, man, and she did this. Or she cheated, man, and she did it. You might hear me say that, but if I'm honest with myself, bro, I can look back and see something in me that and I won't say that made her do that, because I believe a person should be who they, to stand still and be faithful and all that kind of stuff. But I can see how I came off of my square. I'm not saying I ran off of it, but I might can see a few times in my life where I'm taking care of if I look way back to when I was in my like early 30s, 15, 17 years ago, I can easily see where I was always, of course I was a solid brother, but I can see where I may have came off my square and wanted to make sure the person I was with was happy. Oh, you're not happy? Oh, well, I got to do this stuff to, you know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm a full-fledged simp, but I wasn't locked in saying, hey, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. Either you're coming or you're not, like I am now. I was on some happy wife, happy life type energy. And I can see how the fact that I was moving like that, a woman would look at me and say, you know what? I loved you and I still love you, but you're not, you're in other words, you haven't passed the test that I've come here to see if you were about. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, the only reason I was even drawn to you because there's a trauma in me that resonated there too. You know what I'm saying? So this whole area is testing, man. And now as I feel myself, I'll say, going to higher levels of being closer to God, going to higher levels of being locked into who I am. You know what I'm saying? I can see it now, man, where it's like, bro, I can look at relationships from my past. And I ain't saying I was moving wrong, but I can see where I even entertained the thought of coming off my square. Which biologically, a woman internally, whether she wants to or not, is supposed to do something different. She's supposed to respond to that different, whether she wants to or not, man. So a lot of it, like a lot of the issues we're talking about, man, a lot of it is really just issues we're really talking about ourselves, bro. If we're honest, man. So again, it's all, I believe that this thing is all about being tested, right? And again, I can only see this, man, because as I isolate myself, as I cut the phone off, as I entertain none of that world, and I feel myself elevating, getting closer to God, I see now where I have zero tolerance in anything that's not with my mission. Zero tolerance. And what I think that happens, man, this is what I think that happens, bro. This is when I believe that a person can tell if they've gotten to a place of real healing, or if they've gotten to a place of completing that first marriage of man, right? If y'all understand what I'm talking about, read the Singular Truth. The first marriage of man, the marriage within oneself. I believe when a person knows they're there, they get to a state where they no longer even, should I use the word desire a relationship? At minimum, they no longer need a relationship because now they're whole. You know what I'm saying? So when I feel, because now I'm in a state where it's like, bro, life is so good. Yeah, these women are cute and fine, and yeah, the thought of having some long-term relationship, and like I can see the power and the beauty of that. But you know what? I'm good, man. Like this land of milk and honey I found myself in, man, it's so good. And I believe when a person gets there, I believe only until they get there, man, they're even ready for something else. Even if they may not even desire it at that point. But I believe a lot of what we're seeing, a lot of what we're talking about on all this conversation online and on YouTube, is really people in a state where they're trying to fill some void. And that void, again, that void is attached to some kind of trauma. That void is attached to some kind of absent father, absent mother, some kind of wound. And we're going through life and we're looking for somebody to fill it, whether we're aware of this or not. We're looking for somebody to fill that. And when we see somebody that can fill that void, right? So us as men, we're looking for somebody that can fill that void. And a woman on the other side is looking at a man that has an absence, and she feels a sense of purpose because she sees a void to fill. I believe that whole scenario is an illusion of love. Like it feels like love. It seems like love. Let's get married and sing Kumbaya. But it's not love. It's not love to I fill myself, fill any voids with nothing but God energy. And now I'm whole to the point where I don't even need anybody. Only when I get to the point where I don't need anybody am I ready for somebody. When two people come together and become one, neither one of them should be craving or lacking something. Oh, you know what I need my love languages filled. Oh, I need, my daddy wasn't there, my mama wasn't there, and I got beat and I got this. I need somebody to show me that there is another way. That void has to be filled before that. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm talking about everybody, but now I'm talking about us brothers. That's why I said yesterday, man, stay locked in, stay focused, stay single until you see that woman that's just like you. Almost like you're looking in the mirror saying, hey, you know what? I don't look at you in lust. I don't look at you and crave for you to come over here and fill this void. I look at you and see myself. I look at you and see myself. I look at you, and when I say that, meaning you have the exact same glow as me. And I believe until you meet that person, the person you're meeting is there to fill some kind of void, is there to test you, to boost you forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, man. Again, I think that until a person gets to the point, kind of going back to what I said in that comment that Makiba commented on. When I say relationships are overrated, that's really what I'm meaning. Not saying that relationships suck, not saying that relationships are bad, none of that stuff. I'm saying that they're overrated if we aren't in that land of milk and honey yet. Like if we're still traveling the path and we see somebody and say, hey, you know what, let's become one, that relationship is not gonna do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, you might scratch a few itches. You might indulge in a few pleasures. Y'all might take a few trips. It might be good for a minute, but at some point in time, in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, right? In other words, it could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be 20 years. At some point, y'all are gonna look at each other and say, you know what? Something ain't right. Like, I thought I loved that person, but it was just the illusion of love. I thought it was something different. Like when you hear these ladies say, and it gets on my nerves, I go loud. I hear these ladies, and I'm thinking about it because I heard this lady say this morning. She was like, yeah, I've been with my husband for 20 years, right? It was on TikTok. She said, I was with my husband for 20 years and divorced him, right? And then she said this. She said, when we went on our first date 20 plus years ago, she said, she said 30 minutes into the date. She said something like 30 minutes into the date, I knew I shouldn't be with him. On our first date. She said months down the road, I knew I shouldn't be with him. When we got married, I knew I shouldn't be with him. You know what I'm saying? In 20 years, she divorced him. So in other words, she went 20 years instead of finding self, instead of moving a certain way, instead of him moving a certain way and finding self, they just played the game of the second marriage of man. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just playing the game of house. They're playing the game of house. Yeah, we love each other. Yeah, we may have good intimate moments. And yeah, we had kids and look at our house and we're going to Fiji this year and ha ha ha, look at us on social media. It's a facade. It's a facade. Again, if God made this world so perfect, if the bees and the trees and the squirrel, they have nothing to worry about, man, they operate in harmony, then why are relationships, why are people dating 3 and 4 having full-blown relationships a year? Why is everybody having a multitude of sexual partners? Why is divorce rate at 50+%? Why are all these married women jumping in all these single men's DM and vice versa? That means we're in a state that we're unaware of. We're under the illusion of love. So again, when I say brothers, man, stay locked in and stay single until you get there, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying bypass this game, man. Because this, I'll say it like this, and I said this last video. We have to get to the point as men where we have to say, you know, like, hey, man, like I love life, man. I love myself. I love doing whatever I want to do. If I never get into another full-blown relationship again, I'm good. You know, it's kind of like one of the brothers said something like that in the last video, and I don't think I commented on it yet. But he was like, man, I might not want a relationship. But he said something about entertaining women. You might be a man that says, hey, you know what? I don't want to get married. I don't even want to be in a relationship. But I like female companionship. You know what I'm saying? You may, you know, and I'm not sure who say what's right, what's wrong, or what. But you might meet a woman on that same tip. She might be like, and I know some women like that are saying, hey, you know what? I ain't out in these streets. I ain't trying to be dealing with all these guys. I ain't trying to be doing none of that. I like going out to eat by myself. But at the same time, these women are like, hey, you know what? I got a partner. I got a friend. And me and him, we hang out sometimes. Whatever that means. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, man, first off, brothers, we got to get to the point where we're not obligated by anybody, not even Source Energy, to have to be with a woman. Yeah, a woman has a lot of value, but man, when we get to that place of wholeness that I speak of, that land of milk and honey, brother, we can stand alone. But once you get in that position, man, once you see a woman that vibrates just like that, there is a beauty associated with that. There is a beauty associated with that, man. But all I'm saying is, man, before I get to just rambling, is until we get to that place, brothers, any woman you entertain is simply an illusion of love, man.